Hey everybody. If you are following over from my other channel, Finding Timbley, I appreciate you doing that. If you are clicking in just fresh and you want to know what I'm talking about, follow the link here. What I'm going to be talking about today is this cheaply made zine. For those of you who don't know what a zine is, go back in time to the 90s where that word mattered. Basically, it's just a little magazine, sort of. What we did was we made an underground paper, is really what it is. When I was in high school, we were going to high school in Forsyth Central. A good high school. They've got good numbers and stuff. But like every high school, you know, you've got your groups that feel disenfranchised and you've got your cliques and everything. This might not shock you to learn I was part of the more nerdy side of the cliques. But I was lucky in that I fell in with a really great group of friends. A really great group, to the point to where I'm still friends with just about all of them. And they've become family. Towards my, I think it's a junior before senior, year before senior, we put out an underground paper. Most of my friends were ahead of me a year, so they were going to be graduating. So this was like their big hurrah. And basically the paper started out as a idea that three of us had, Thomas Dunlap, Lee Goodson, and myself, Tim Clemens. We had the basic idea of just doing a small newspaper. And at first it was very much like, oh, we're just going to do a newspaper. We're going to have a sports page. And Thomas, for whatever reason, picked me for the sports page. Is hilarious because I don't know anything about sports. Hold on a second. Where did my Mountain Dew go? There it is. I do drink Mountain Dew, though. That makes me extreme. Tasty, edgy. But, so the idea was to make a little magazine or a little newspaper. And then we sat on it for a very, very long time. Then Lee and I started talking because we hung out a lot back then. Like, a lot. And then we started writing for it. I don't know if either one of us actually thought that we were going to make something, but we started writing for it. And the more we wrote, the more it seemed like it was going to happen. And Thomas came back on board, and then other people. And eventually there were so many people, I don't even know who was all involved. I mean, I know my friend Eric, who sadly is no longer with us, Eric Griffin. He was definitely involved. A bunch of others. J.P. Leviditis. No. He was no longer in school with us, so he wasn't involved with that one. But it got big. And then we stayed up like most of the night hanging out in a copy, like a photocopy company. I had a post office or post box with, or Lee had it, one of us had it. And we were just copying this paper over and over again from several sources of change. I had a big coffee can of change. Thomas had a butt ton of change from like this big jar, I think. Lee had a bunch of change. And we just made a mass amount of these underground papers. Then we went to school and we passed them out. And we didn't think we were doing anything wrong. There were no rules stating you cannot have an underground paper. So we just went to school and passed them out. We kind of did it on the down low. I won't lie. It's not like we were just saying, hear ye, hear ye. Because at the same time, there was no rules, but it doesn't mean that rules won't just spontaneously appear. So we were still being careful. And everything was doing great, and people were loving the paper. Then shit hit the fan. I'm walking back. I don't even remember which class to class, but I'm walking down a hallway. My friend Eric stops me and goes, "Tim, Thomas, he's talking to you right now. Don't do anything rash." I was like, "Why would I do something rash? What happened?" "Thomas just wants to talk to you." "What happened?" Then somebody else came up to me as I'm making my way to where Thomas says he was. "Hey man, sorry about Lee." I was like, what happened to Lee? And then as I'm keep going, it's like I just kept getting stopped, and more people are apologizing and sympathizing over Lee. And at this point, I'm thinking Lee was hit by a bus. And I see Thomas. And Thomas tells me that my friend Lee was in the principal's office, and he was sent home, and he was told that he could not walk during his graduation. But then Thomas goes, but don't worry, I'm taking care of it. Thomas is one of my oldest and one of my best friends. We don't talk as much as we used to. I think there's a little bit of a divide just there by time. But when Thomas says, don't worry, I'm taking care of it, things are about to get interesting. And this is something I wish I can take credit for. I really wish I could take credit for it because it was beautiful, just beautiful. So many kids in that school, and I'm talking redneck, prep, skater, goth, you name it, were going to show up and boycott in Mr. Fox's office, our principal's office. And it was just amazing. And see, I'd always been a nerd in that school, a geek. I couldn't walk down the hallway without some asshole like trying to trip me or make an ass of me, which is funny because a lot of times I just walk across their toes when they do it. It's high school and grade school were not the best. My senior year was a lot better because I stopped caring about their opinion, and when I stopped reacting and getting mad, or when I reacted less than favorably, they kind of backed off. Now, I'm not saying getting into fights. I hadn't been in a fight in years. Matter of fact, I would say if I was in a fight, most likely I lost it. I will say this, though. Anytime you're a nerd and you're in a fight, a lot of times the bullies will just find that you're not really worth going at it again because you will fight back. I'm not saying get into a fight. I am saying sometimes it's better to be more trouble than you're worth. That being said, I was amazed that all these different cliques had come together to help out Lee because of this. And I would find out from Lee later that a lot of people from those different cliques had written into this. And so years go by. Oh yeah, and Lee was fine. They let him walk. Like, we all were fine. None of us got in trouble. But years go by, and I didn't have a copy of this at all. And my friend Heather told me she did. So I asked her for a copy because I thought, I would take this and maybe reprint it just for our friends and people in school. Not to make money off of it. This isn't something someone's going to buy. And then I read it. This thing is angry. So angry. I'm amazed that the rednecks helped us at all because there's so much anger towards rednecks in this. And I hate to say it, as somebody who was raised Southern and country, and sorry about that, it's Southern and country and everything. I mean, honestly, my entire family consists of people you would call rednecks. And I'm ashamed to say that I was bad-mouthing them in this, but I was. Even though I myself am very much a redneck. It's just, nerdy. I'm actually ashamed of how angry I was in this thing. So I was shocked that all these people stood up to help when a lot of them were being bashed in this. But then I flipped through it. Everybody was being bashed in this. It was like everybody's teen angst was in this paper. All of it. Just rage. And I can see why the school, I'm sympathizing with the school better now because I can see why they reacted the way they did because this is very angry. But that being said, I've never seen so many cliques get together at one time to stand up for something. So even though I'm not going to be reprinting this thing, I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of my friends, and I'm proud of everybody that wrote this, and I'm proud of everybody that stood up for Lee. So why am I telling you about this? Because it's a good memory. It's a good story. And, if you're wondering what this is, lead Pisces. What's hilarious about that name is the symbols as alchemists and astrology. The school thought it was satanic. The educators thought this was satanic. They didn't bother to try to look it up. They just made an assumption. Decades later, my generation ain't doing much better. The things that are being assumed as being a satanic nowadays is insane. But again, no, very proud of this. And that's really it. I just want to share that story with you guys. Hope you have a good day. Thank you for listening. And if you would, subscribe to the other channel because I'm trying to get fit and I can use the support. Hitting the button now.